Hi, I'm Dr. Stacey Alexander, America's #1 success therapist and your host of Goals Don't Have Feelings. Honestly, you all, I feel like it's been a while since I've been on my show to talk to you all about the emotionality of success and carry on this journey of removing the stigma of mental health. But it's really only been 2 weeks since my last installment. I was highlighting Mental Health Month during May, which is a national celebration or acknowledgement. And then this month is Men's Mental Health Month. National recognition. And then for July is Minority Mental Health Month. So May, June, and July are heavily inundated with information about mental health. I mean, 2020, we can all agree, has really been difficult. And, you know, coming on and trying to create content and develop content consistently, it can be a job. And so a lot of us don't really feel like we're 100% in our jobs. And so this particular part of my work has felt it. You've seen it. My timeline on my professional pages has not been as active as they were probably in 2019 and earlier this year. They just have not been. Because I try to keep those strictly focused on mental health. And so I highlighted some things for May being Mental Health Month, all the different areas that we can talk about it and dialogue about it. And I'll do the same in June. But just so, you know, to be totally transparent with you all, that you've seen a decline in my activity because I also am responding to not only the pandemic, but the tumultuous race relations that are going on in our nation. So I wouldn't try to hide that or act like I'm immune to it, because I am absorbing those things and I'm feeling those things. So on a personal level, yeah, I'm totally absorbing and experiencing the things that we are in the minority community. And we would like to think that as an entire community of this nation, that we would all, feel these things the same way. But the reality is that we don't. And then from a professional level, to continue counseling people and being there for them is a lot to absorb. And then I have adult children in the household. They're processing information at another level than they would have 5 years ago when they were in high school. And they're definitely more vocal about it. And then when you talk to your families and friends, you're talking about it, you know, with your colleagues. And those are some things that all of those trying to manage in this bubble that we're in because of the pandemic and because of the race relations, that results in decreased productivity, if you will, on these platforms that I have. So I'm back this month, the first week of the month, which is generally when I would do a full show with my friends, my good friends, Tasha and Nisha. We would be on with Girl Talk and current events and all of these other things. But, you know, a consensus between the three of us is that we just don't feel like it. We don't feel like laughing about things. We don't feel like joking and, you know, talking about fashion or blogging or any of those things that we will use just to bring some levity to the discussions of mental health, that we weren't going to do that this month. So what I do have is a special installment for the month of June that will highlight Men's Mental Health Month. And in talking about mental health, basically in response to what we're seeing with the race relations and the pandemic that's going on. So my guests tonight are 4 fabulous men who I've had the pleasure of working alongside at Paul Quinn College, which is an HBCU in Dallas, Texas. It is an urban work college, and they work mightily to create an environment where students can not only learn the academics that are necessary to succeed in life, but also life skills, entrepreneurship skills, work skills, social skills, and then emotional and behavioral skills that would help them be more successful, you know, outside of college. I was about to say the real world, but they're in the real world, but outside of college once they graduate. So working over there at Paul Quinn, I've had the blessed opportunity to really work on a mental health clinic that would provide that support for the students. And so, we have a staff that works in the clinic, but then there's the faculty outside of the clinic who embrace what we're doing in the clinic. These are 4 guys. There's a lot of guys on campus, which is good for male representation. We have a great staff, but I have some of the guys on campus who were willing to join me this morning and talk about, this evening, and talk about some things that are happening in our country today and how they're responding to it. I asked them, let's be transparent, let's be open, let's be professional, let's have these dialogues so that we can really open up the conversation, and so that the people that we help every day will understand this is not something that has to be hidden under a block. So you all coming on tonight, I ask that you just stop a minute. Let's, be mindful about what is happening in our world. Let's be mindful about the Floyd family. Let's be mindful about Ahmaud's family and Breonna's family and these other people who have lost so many. People are protesting because that's their way of expressing on a much more global platform that this has got to stop. And it's not just people of color that are saying this has got to stop. These are people from all over the world that is saying this has got to stop. And so if you're watching this and you're not a person of color, I hope that we can provide some insight that will help you understand just how difficult of a process it is to go in day out, go in and day out and act like everything is okay when deep down inside, everything really is not okay, because you feel guilty just about being able to go to sleep at night. You feel guilty just about being able to walk in your neighborhood. Or get this, where you would have walked last week without any problems, you're now second guessing. Should you walk down the street, or should you make sure you're home at dark, or should you wear this shirt or not wear this shirt? And then, what about when you walk by the neighbor who has on a MAGA hat? I mean, those are the kinds of things that we're experiencing on a much higher level, and the guys are willing to talk about that. So I'm really thankful that they're going to join me this evening to have this discussion that we need to have. So make sure that you invite people, you share the post, you can start a watch party and get other people to engage in the conversation, because this also is affecting our mental health, and our world is in crisis. And so many people are sitting at home trying to digest this and keep moving and keep pressing and keep being who they were before all of this. And it really is taking a toll. And so on the other side of this, there is going to be a greater need for mental health services. And I want to urge you all that even during this, there is a greater need for mental health services, and there are people who are willing to help you. There are resources available to you, and I will post those links at the end of the show, so that if even you don't want to go to counseling right now, that you would do, someone else a favor and send them the links and say, hey, you really need to look into this for yourself. So you all get that button working, meaning say hello, let me know that you're here, share with other people, tag other people, and let's continue this conversation on the emotionality of success, because where we thought our country had gone, we now realize that there's a lot more work to do. And it's almost like, you just some sour grapes in the bowl, and they are making it difficult for everyone, and our eyes are being opened. And so I'm glad, that we're going to have this conversation. I appreciate you joining me. See you in a second. All righty. So you all, thank you for joining me. I have some marvelous men from Paul Quinn College, and I asked them to engage in an open and free-flowing dialogue, not only because it is Men's Mental Health Month, but also because of what we're experiencing in the world today. It's not isolated to a specific city, a specific state, or a specific region. Like, these things are being recognized worldwide. And if we don't begin to open up these dialogues and how they impact our mental health, we'll never help people understand how they are truly affected by the things that are happening outside of their homes. We can talk openly in our homes, but when we move those conversations outside of our homes, how is that impacting us? When we're opening up our social media accounts every single day and we see these things blasting across, how are we impacted emotionally, cognitively, and behaviorally? So I have some great counterparts who are going to join me today to talk about these events, current events, and some of the things that we've been dealing for the last 3 months with on an open level. I think we can engage in some good dialogue. These are some people that I work with every day. We laugh and talk. We might fuss about some stuff and complain about some other stuff, but at the end of the day, we all have the goal of helping students. So you all say hi. I'll say hi to everybody, and I'll introduce you in your roles.
Hello, everyone.
Everyone.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
I am so glad you're here. So let's start with Hillman. He's the resident life coordinator, right?
Yes, I am over here at the Metropolitan City Place.
All righty. From Paul Quinn. These are faculty and staff from Paul Quinn. And then we have Dexter. He's our associate dean of students. How are you doing this evening?
I'm well. How are you all?
Good. I like your backdrop. You got representing.
Okay.
There you go. Dr. Avery is, okay, so that's a long title. I know it's Director of Institutional Research, but it's one more in there.
Nah, that's good. You can Director of Institutional Research and Effectiveness, but Director of IR is fine.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for joining this evening.
Thank you.
And then we have Mr. Dean McGriff. How are you doing? Over the Work College program. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. So you guys, again, thank you for joining me. And they have roles in different areas of the college. So they get to see the students from different perspectives. A lot of hands-on work, as with any HBCU. But we also have, the director of research on the line. So he gets to see another side of the work that we're doing on campus, gathering that data. So that's why I wanted him on the call, because we get to see campus life from a different perspective, not just feet on the ground, but a well-rounded perspective. So if you all would just one by one kind of share, just when I ask you, how are you feeling? Like, what is your first thought that comes to mind with everything that's going on?
I would say it's if someone asks me how I'm feeling, especially with everything that's going on, literally it's just been a question mark, because it's trying to figure out which emotion I'm more in tune with. They're asking me that question more so than what my thoughts have been around what's been going on around me. So when someone asks me, because I've had people ask me that these past couple of days, and honestly, it's been I don't know. Like I feel like I'm doing okay. Like I'm doing well. But then when you get on, when you have these conversations, it's like a whole different side, a whole different emotion just comes, and it's kind of it's a hard question to answer when you really think about it. Because you say I'm doing well, but when you think about it mentally, it's weird. It's like a weird feeling. You don't know what to say. I'm feeling good. I'm okay. I'm angry. I don't know.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Avery?
Yeah, I think overall, kind of echo what Hill mentioned. Overall, I feel well, but I have to admit that there are times of anxiety in terms of feeling like, okay, guys, what's next, right? I'm big in social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I remember someone posted saying that 2020 is pretty much, if you guys have watched television shows or whatnot, someone said that 2020 feels like the series finale of a television show. Right. And what they mean by that, and I kind of, and I chuckled, and I thought it was very comical, but I felt as though, when you're watching a television show, there's so many different dynamics, right? There's so many different storylines, plot lines that are essentially coming to an end, when there is a series finale. And that's not to say, 2020 feels last year, but it just feels that there's so much that's happening, so much that has happened within this last few months. It almost feels like, okay, what's next? And you're almost anticipating the next point. You're almost anticipating whatever's next. It's going to be in many ways worse than the last point. And so, I know we're going to probably talk about this throughout the course of our conversation, but, obviously for me trying to remain balanced in terms of, work and, personal life, obviously exercising has definitely helped for me. It's a point that's helped me really kind of alleviate some of the anxiety that I felt, over the past few weeks, especially what happened last week in Minneapolis. But just kind of talking along and, just trying to reach out to friends and family members and really trying to have those open and very transparent conversations.
Okay. What about you, Deck?
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Alexander. I can't say the same for myself. There are many days where I have not been well. I feel like I'm a maintaining maniac at times. There are things that are triggering me that have, I think, subtly triggered me in the past that are now, bringing themselves to the forefront in my daily sphere. I feel like I need to talk to someone, a licensed therapist, or even my friends in a more direct and counsel in a counseling manner. It's been tough for me. There have been days where I cannot work. Like I literally have silenced my phone because of the noise and the distractions and honestly, me not knowing how to, I'm not right.
Okay. Okay. McGriff, you there?
Hi, Dr. Alexander. Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay. We can't see you. We can hear you though. There you go.
I'm here. So, I noticed that we just cannot think about all the tumultuous amounts of things that are hitting us all at once. And I'm watching people just focus on one thing and about another person that looks like you killed. You want to go out into the streets, but you think about COVID-19. You know, you look at people protesting and you think about your safety. You think about a presidential election where the last presidential election was supposed to be the most consequential election. And you don't see any of the things taking place this time to ensure that people are going to vote, to ensure that people are going to participate. So it's a pretty discouraging time for me because obviously it's not business as normal. But I am hopeful that that people are going to start to connect everything that's going on and use that as the prescription to move forward rather than using one event or getting caught up in one issue that's taking place. I think that it's becoming evident that 2020, as one of the co-hosts has also said, 2020 is this evolving door of disaster that we must find a way to respond to all the things and not just one because it hits home directly.
Just so the complexity of the answers that you guys have given today. Can you imagine if we took a poll over all of the guys that are at Paul Quinn and talking about mental health month? I mean, like this was, I think each one of you gave a different response. And I don't think people understand the totality of that, especially when they give you a one-word reply like, it's not that bad, or, you know, one person told me that she got on the phone with a colleague and he was just like upset about the protest, but not upset about the murder. So all of these things just make it even more complicated for us to explain how we're feeling. You know, like Dr. Avery, you said, I'm good, like I'm moving through the day. And Dex tells us, no, like I don't even want to answer the phone sometimes. Like that is two diametrically opposite ends of the spectrum for us to deal with. And so for the students, with how available you all are to them, you know, what do you do? Like, how do you balance that out? I know how I balance it out, but I've been clinically trained for 20 years to do this, you know. But for you all to be in a different space to say, oh, you have a housing issue, let me shut off my stuff and come make sure that you have a place to lay your head. How do you guys balance that?
I know for me and how I've been working through it is, you know, it's the same thing as work-life balance. I make sure I do have a set aside time that I'm like, if anybody can talk to me at any time, I am all in, all ears, you know, whatever you need. That doesn't mean after that time I will not talk to you at all, but I'm saying I set aside a specific amount of time throughout my day to really dive deep into how they're feeling, what they're going through. Because on average, even though I am physically with students that are still here at Paul Quinn, social distancing and doing things like that, we're not close. But I'm physically here with students, and so I have face-to-face conversations. And then besides that, I speak to at least 7 or 8 guys a day. That's Paul Quinn students who don't attend Paul Quinn, family members, and this is literally every day. My phone has been ringing nonstop every day. It's been mentoring, it's been mentors, it's been colleagues that have been calling me and wanting to have the conversation. And how I've been handling it is at a certain point in time, I'll just say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm gonna put my phone down. The same thing Dexter said earlier. I literally would just put my phone down, flip it over. I don't put it on silent only because I'm just highly engaged with making sure that if someone does reach out to me, I am available to them. But putting my phone down kind of helps me not get on social media because a lot of my friends, colleagues, mentees, mentors, they're sending me stuff too. And they're constantly sending me content, and it's just like, oh, y'all have to stop.
I don't think people realize how oppressive that is.
Yeah.
Like, you're in my inbox. You're sending it to my text. You're sending it to my emails. You're tagging me on Facebook. Yeah.
And it's just like, stop. On top of work, school, social interaction, personal time, it takes a toll, and it kind of puts you in a place to where you can't hide from it unless you literally shut yourself down, because you can't watch TV because they're showing things on television. You can't be on your phone on social platforms because everything is flooded with it. You can't really talk to your friends or family. You can't really talk to them because that's the topic that's going to come up.
Right.
And so the only place you really can go is if you put that phone down, sit back, shut yourself down for a minute, do what you do. Me personally, I talk to God. I just get into my area and just calm myself down. But that's how I handle it, on making sure that I am here for the students and colleagues. But at the same time, it's after a certain amount of time, I kind of just stop and I say, okay, I need to take a break.
Jared, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, Dr. Alexander, I think you mentioned something very interesting as a precursor to your question, in terms of if we took a poll of students, right, particularly, male students at Paul Quinn College, and really finding out their experiences and how they'll be expressing their experiences. I think, I agree with you, that we'll find something very reflective as we're getting through this course of conversation. I actually advise a group of young men at the college, and one of the things that we talked about this past Saturday, and one of the things I think we were able to do as me being an advisor team, is really have that open door, and feel like, hey, if you guys are feeling something, right? If something is on your mind, if you're feeling that you can't do this anymore, it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to be in a space where you just probably don't feel like doing anything. Having that open door, almost kind of policy with them, but also letting them know that, hey, we care. And obviously, folks are different, right? There's different degrees in terms of how open you are, how transparent you are. Right. I think that's step number in terms of letting them know that it is open door from that, open door policy where you can come, you can express how you're feeling. Even though person A may not necessarily be the same as person B, but at least we have a conversation going.
I posted an article last week, and it said that Black men need to hear "I love you" from other Black men more often.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, like, when was the last time you told a non-family member, I love you?
I say it all the time, honestly.
All the time.
I literally say it because I just feel that that's something that was instilled in me from older Black gentlemen. And then once I heard it, because when you grow up as a Black male, you hear that, and it's all type of, oh, you shouldn't be saying this and all this stuff. And it's like, it's not, if this is someone I call my friend, my brother, right, then love is something that, that I should be able to express verbally, physically, anyway, mentally, just let them know, look, I'm here for you. I love you. Mm-hmm. I literally, I do it every day.
Yeah.
What about you, Dexter?
No, I definitely agree with him. And when I talk to our students, especially the young men, I almost have to say I love you. You know what I mean? Because they say it to me, right? And I agree with Dr. Avery in that comment about having an open door policy. And I think we all know this as young men who work at a school like Paul Quinn College. We have to have an open door policy because clearly we see in media and everywhere today that it matters so much for us to be in these young men's lives. As triggered as I am, as much as this is weighing on me heavily, I know the importance of my figure, right? When it comes to the sophomore student from inner city Chicago who doesn't know how to deal with this and doesn't have their father around and this and that and the third. I know what that feels like, and I know that it's not a feeling that I want my students to always have. So I sit on the phone with students all day long. I mean, like, especially the young men, they're calling, and they might talk about the protests. They might talk about COVID-19. They might talk about if we're going to be back in school for the fall or the spring, whatever. They talk about those things for the first 5 minutes or so, and the rest of the time they just want to You know, I was about to say shoot, but you know, they just want to be heard. They just want to be noticed. They want to be seen, and that's literally what we're doing. We're talking about everything else in the world. We're playing iMessenger games on the phone because they've been at home since March already. And so typically they would have been sitting in my office or D. McGriff's office, right, talking and just doing that same thing, talking about anything and everything, and that's what they want, and that's you know, honestly, that's what I want as well. I just want to, you know, talk. I call Hillman, right? I check on Hillman, like, hey man, what's up? What are you up to? How's your girlfriend? I'm going through it, and I'm gonna tell him that I'm going through it. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it, anything like that. Me and D. McGriff, we talk probably about, I don't even know how often do we talk, D. McGriff?
Dean, you there?
All the time, for hours.
And so with the guys being, you know, like men don't deal well with isolation at all. They don't, you know, like that was one of the things that you mentioned is that, you know, your partner has been exceptionally supportive. You didn't say exactly those words, but I read between the lines, you know. And so what are you guys, you know, explaining to the younger guys on campus and your friends and stuff about the isolation that we're dealing with? McGriff, you got any feedback on that?
Yes, well, the first thing I'll say is I may have to change internet companies because things go wrong with my
that Teddy Riley internet.
On Zoom calls all day and everything is perfect.
Are you on your? Let me ask you this: are you on your phone or are you on the desktop? I'm on a device. Yeah, so it's harder on a mobile device. Desktop? Do you want to switch to your desktop?
Yes.
Oh yes, I could.
Okay, just leave the room and come back, and then you jump right back in the conversation. Okay, see you in a bit.
It's so unique to think about how the younger guys that we are talking to, how they deal with their emotions. Because I always try to figure like, was I the same way when I was their age? Was it hard for me to? Because now it's easy for me to do. Like now I'm in tune with my emotions, I can express it. But I always wonder, like, when I was in my younger 20s or my teens, what made it difficult? Like, why was it so hard for me to, you know, express those emotions? I could, you know.
Man, I think it's just like, I mean, my response, I think we just getting older human, and I think it's also become more socially accepted, right? For guys to, you know, express themselves. We have guests like Common saying, you know, mental health is a priority. When you got Charlemagne talking about it. Yeah. I mean, that sort of modeling, man, it's impactful, bro. So I feel you. Because I was the same when I was growing up, you know. Like, I didn't like to talk about much, but now I'm
yeah.
Now, you know what else I think contributes to it is education. The more educated men are, the more comfortable they are with expressing their feelings because they realize that that's not a sign of weakness. But if you're still living in a situation where, what's a good description? If you're still living in an environment where the macho man is seen as the best man in the room, then emotionality becomes a handicap.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I've noticed as well. And, you know, more educated women aren't as likely to demean a man for expressing his emotions.
Yeah.
I thought about this quite a bit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because you always hear, you know, women, if a guy is expressing his emotions, you'll hear, you know, stop acting like this or stop, you know, and it's just like, when you say it, it makes the guy feel like, am I really acting like this or am I trying to express to you how I'm feeling? And then it confuses them and they don't know what to think and then they just shut down and then the young lady says, well, why don't you open up to me? Well, why don't you? It's like, what? And I think that's what a lot of younger guys go through. That may be actually what it is. Because social media will tell you one thing, and then you know it'll make your brain go all sorts of areas.
Yeah.
Seeing this crazy, I'll just say this real quick because I know Dr. Alexander, we're a little bit short on time, but any of you guys watch Secure? Dr. Alexander, guys? Anybody watching Secure?
I do not.
All right, so you guys want to know, and that's just not his head. So the last episode was like,
That's it.
say it again?
I've only watched the season that's in right now.
Okay, so pretty much like everyone's really applauding this last episode of Insecure because like it's the best episode that's been out, and they really talk about Lawrence, one of the central characters in the show. Issa Rae is the other central character, and how he was able to openly express himself after some of the things that happened in season 1. And you know, a lot of folks really applaud that growth, especially a lot of women. At least what I've seen on my timeline, my first timeline, they really applaud it. So it kind of goes to what you were saying, Dr. Alexander, and even you, Hillman, in terms of like, you know, folks like that openness, like that vulnerability.
I have to check it out. I hadn't, and you know why? Because once I get off of the Zoom or, you know, the virtual sessions every day, I go straight out to the yard. Or I go walking, or I just try to spend as much time outside as I can.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, you got to do all of it. So listen, one of the main, of course, expressions that we're seeing right now is anger from a lot of people. And so, Griff, will you kind of share with us how are you guiding the students through that anger? That's just, even if it's not explosive, there's still an always undercurrent. That is like that we see on campus or with the students. How are you helping them deal with it?
Well, I know many of you all that know me, humor, I probably have a PhD in humor. So I utilize humor to kind of diffuse feelings of anger that students feel. And, you know, with all my years of being a student in discipline, you know, I always start from anger. Because I start from anger because anger seems to be one of the most accepted emotions for me, and especially African American men. So I start from anger and I try to work that anger down and help them see, is it really anger? Or are you camouflaging and using anger when it's really hurt? When it's really embarrassment? And, you know, for most African American males that I deal with, especially, you know, handling discipline on campus, it's normally embarrassment. You know, somebody embarrassed me in front of people, so that's why we have to fight. Or, you know, I'm just tired of actions and somebody taking my manhood away because they trying this. They keep trying saying this, you keep doing this. And I think that's the same thing that we're dealing with these continual murders in our face. You keep killing us in our face. What are we going to do about it? And so we have to be the people that jump in front of them and say, you need to vote. I have on my African Americans for Hillary Clinton t-shirt because that was the message 4 years ago, 8 years, 12 years ago. You have to vote. And now we have to make sure that to ensure that history doesn't repeat itself and we get someone in office who thinks it's okay for us to continuously be murdered without pressing down on the lower courts to handle this stuff effectively. We have to vote. So I tell students, you're angry right now. I know you're not going to tell Dean McGriff that you ran out and you were a part of the protest that became rioting and looting, right? You're not going to tell me that. But what are you doing that's going to be productive in the face of your anger, in the face of your emotions? And that's when they start kind of thinking about it. And they're like, okay, I can do this. I can do that. Or next time I can do this. Next time I can do that. But if I ask them, if you're put in the same situation again, and you become this angry and you act this exact same way, then I have to refer you somewhere else because you're not someone who is coachable and you're not someone that I can help be a part of this whole experience called college because you're supposed to come out on the other side a better person. So that's my long answer to that.
But that was a great answer and it was comprehensive because what you did, you told them another way to handle their anger and then you told them the consequences that should you choose to handle your anger the same, then you're actually alleviating your ability or relieving yourself of the ability of having a college education here at this institution, because I don't think enough young people get that you have the ability to choose, but perhaps no one gave you the choices that you have. So I mean, it was a great answer. What do you guys think?
No, I would say I think that as much as I'm frustrated, I'm also extremely purpose driven in the conversations that I have with our students. And one of my main angst, kind of like Dean McGriff said, his is humor. He had a PhD in humor. Mine is organized. And I've been in the space where we've had to organize because of situations like this, right? Because of being historically discriminated in Dallas, because of race, right? I've led protests and led demonstrations when Trayvon Martin was killed, and I'm still hot and confused and tempered with what happened with George Zimmerman. And so what I have to give to our students is just a level of understanding of what it takes to be strategic and to organize in times like this. Honestly, I'm not protesting right now, not in the streets, but I don't think everyone's avenue, and we all know this, everyone's avenue is not to be in the street, right? I've done my job, I've been in the street before, and I've led those sorts of things. But I think that if I can give advice to students right now, which I am telling them how important it is to organize and, figure out what it is that your calling is in this movement, right? Maybe it is to start a petition, maybe it's online, maybe it is to hold prayer vigils, maybe it is to target Black-owned businesses that you're going to support, maybe it's clean up after it's over, maybe it's to develop your own business with other partners, and continue to build the Black dollar and e-commerce and commerce and communities, etc. And so maybe it's just to sit there and talk on the phone and encourage another brother. But I think that you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan of action in these sort of times. And it's especially important with this pandemic that's happening right now to continue to take care of yourself. We know in Dallas that less than 2% of people in the county have been tested for COVID-19. Less than 2%. And so we're out kind of looting and doing things like that. That's not organized. That is not organization. That's chaos. That's anarchy. And so I think that you sit down with your students and you sit down with people that you need to develop a plan of action that makes sense.
A plan, especially when we keep getting hit. I mean, like sometimes. This is what I tell people. I feel like I'm in the ring with Mike Tyson sometimes. Like if you just start out with 2020, and that's fierce, right? But that's what 2020 feels like. Like you're just in the ring with Mike Tyson. You had Ahmad, you had Brianna, you got coronavirus, you got job losses.
Kobe Bryant.
It's just too much. Which one, Dexter?
Kobe Bryant.
That was hard. Yeah, that was hard. Yeah. That was, and I'm not even a basketball fan, but that was hard to see that family go. Yeah, that one will bring me to tears, and it's just because like, ooh, that was a lot. That was a lot. Yeah, you're right.
Iconic Black male figure in the world. Iconic Black male figure.
Yeah, you're right. And so if you, like Dexter, you started out with saying, yeah, I do need to talk to someone. So there are websites, and I'll share them at the end for this. But like when you guys talk to your friends, do you say, hey man, sound like you need to talk to a counselor? Like that's another level of accountability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking to the methods that Dean McGriff and Dean Dexter use. Humor, being able to organize. Mine is consistency. Like I literally will strategically talk to people almost every other day just because I know that they may be feeling a certain type of way or just maybe thinking differently. And I tell them, like, hey, look, if you need extra assistance, I will help you in finding that. I will assist you in saying, hey, let's go find it out. Like this, you don't. I always tell my friends, you don't have to tell me everything that you're going through in life for me to be there for you. Right. I don't have to know every single thing that you're going through. If you tell me something to where I do think that you need some assistance, I want to tell you that's because that's the type of relationship we have. And I tell them to use a stoplight method where, red is stop, think about whatever's going on, actually think about it, understand why you're feeling this type of way. Yellow is slow down, calm yourself down, organize everything that's going on, and green is making the move. So if you do need to go help, let's make the move to figure it out. If you do need to talk to somebody, you can call me. But that's after you go through these different steps. But I tell my friends, I tell my family, I've even contemplated with it myself just to say, okay, be real with yourself. Do you need to go get some extra assistance? And that's just a conversation that has to be had, especially in the Black community, because it's not, you don't hear that growing up. You don't hear, you should seek counseling. You should be tough and suck it up. You don't hear that. But then when you have an opportunity to now say that, look, it's okay. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you lame. Like you can still be a cool guy and get assistance. So, yeah.
I want to jump in there real quick because I did have to log off and come back. But one of the things, I take it a step further, and this may be right or this may be wrong, but I ask my friends, my family, my students to seek help from a minority counselor. And the reason why I say that is because the customs, the traditions of the African American community are being shaken by every single thing that has come out. So you talk about Kobe Bryant and Black men just crying. Who's going to understand that except for us? You talk about COVID-19 and being scared to bring your grandmother that raised you some food in the house. She wants to see you. You don't want her sick. You talk about your family members dying and only 10 people can go to the funeral when we don't even do family reunions the way that we used to. The family reunion is the funeral with 2,000 people there, and now you have to watch it on Facebook Live. We see people having to take videos of great carnage and things that you don't think are appropriate to be online and put them online, put memes to them, and who's going to understand, those things other than somebody who works with us. I mean, even, hearing your grandparents talk about how they protested, and now who wants to go to jail? Who wants to go to jail and figure out who's going to get me out just because I was peacefully protesting? So it just seems like in all the issues that we're dealing with in 2020, they are attacking the way that the African American culture has things that they've used as success measures, even education. You don't want your child going to school because they may get sick. You don't want your child going to school next semester if they can't tell you if they're going to be able to live on campus or not. It just seems all the ideas that African American people have clung to for success are being beaten down and broken, which is why I think that the counselor of a minority counselor can help those people or us as people to cope better than those who aren't connected and don't really understand our culture, our heritage, our history, and what we kind of use to cope in this society that hasn't always and still isn't fair to us 100%.
I appreciate you saying that, Dean, because y'all know I've been talking about mental health for over 20 years, but I never really say make sure you go to a minority counselor, but I do think there are some benefits of, especially the ones that you just mentioned, of going, because if that person comes in my office, they do not have to spend an hour talking or explaining what they saw that supports the way they feel. They can just come in and sit down, and I will know, oh my gosh, like everything that I saw last night, this person saw last night, because we're getting the same social media feed or what have you. So, I mean, that's a conversation that will probably take a full another recording, if you will, if we go down that particular road. So, you guys, in closing, what do you want young men, and even, men, period, to know about their mental health as they walk through like you said, the pandemic, the death of Kobe Bryant, the deaths of these other men and women now, for Breonna, to somebody to go in her house and kill her while she's asleep. And then the guy, that she's living with protected her, and he was arrested. Like, these are just things on top of things on top of things. What would you say, Dr. Avery, you shared at the beginning that you do, you exercise and you talk to the people that you care about. Just what you each give one thing that you really want men to use and utilize as we talk openly about our mental health.
I'm gonna start off. I think, I just want young brothers to know it's okay to feel. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel anxious. Those feelings are totally normal. It's also okay to express feelings through exercise, through art, through talking. It's okay to do that. You are granted the opportunity to do that. So feel, process. Keep that. Don't keep it in.
Okay, McGriff.
I want brothers to think and take away knowing I am my brother's keeper. When you get on the phone with any brother, ask them, what are you doing to take care of your mental health? Whatever they say, that may give you ideas to spread to other people. So just realize I am my brother's keeper, and we are responsible for not only just wealth and health, but mental health as well.
Thank you. Dexter?
I would say to our young brothers especially that this is the time to educate yourselves in ways that you probably have never. Spend time writing, right? Spend time documenting this moment so that you and that we can be the narrators of our stories when we have children 10 and 20 years from now, and they look back and they think about a time like 2020 and how tumultuous it has been. You can be able to pull out the receipts, you can be able to pull out the records and show that I was there, I was active, and I made it through that time frame. Develop, and through those writings, through those blogging, and through whatever methodology you seek to record and to cherish this moment, I would say take that, strategize, and develop your community, grow your community, whether that be creating businesses, whether that be creating organizations, develop and grow your community. So take all that knowledge that you gained during this time and figure out a way to open up and grow your spaces.
Thank you. And Hillman?
I would say, pretty much everything the other three brothers just said. But one of my biggest things is, don't soak in that emotion. Because a lot of times when we soak into it, it's okay to feel. It's like what Dr. Avery said. It is okay to feel whatever emotion it is at that time. But one of my biggest things is when you soak in that emotion, you actually you miss out on an opportunity for you to grow in certain areas or for you to learn something different. Only because you stay just honed in on anger or just sadness, and it's okay to feel that. But at the end of the day, you have to overcome it. You have to continue to push through it because it's not over. We're still working through this. We still have to fight. And in order for you to fight, the same thing Brother Dex said, you have to strategize. You have to be able to think. You have to be able to analyze and get assistance when you need it. And then the thing that then the good side, once you do those things, you talk to your friends, you ask them questions, you see where their brain is. So you can't do those things if you're soaking in whatever emotion that is. So that's that would be my final thought to everything.
That's true. All of those are good, and I appreciate you guys sharing it. The thing that I would like to say, with all of you here is that we're in crisis, and every single one of us on this call agrees that we're in crisis. And so if we were physically in crisis, if we were having a heart attack, we had a broken bone, or we had a bleeding nose, we would immediately seek medical attention. So every single person in here has, said that they're in crisis. And so that is the time to seek out mental health. And the other thing that I'll add to that, if you have a counselor already in place, then you're just calling them for a checkup. You're just saying, hey, you know what? It's a lot going on. I probably need to come in and talk about some things. If you start seeing a counselor now, you're going to have to give some background information, but not nearly as comprehensive. One, because she knows you're in crisis. Like, there's nobody that would doubt at this point that you're in crisis. So I say, on any level, go ahead and schedule an appointment. and get that relationship with a therapist, you're in there, something may happen 2 years from now, something may happen 2 weeks from now, but you already have someone and you're not online trying to find that person. That's why I'm glad Paul Quinn has totally embraced mental health as one of the services for the students, because we're an email, telephone, some people DM me, and I'm like, I didn't even know that message was in there. Yeah, so we're just a telephone call away. And then each one of you, when you come into contact with students, you'll tell them, have you called Dr. A or have you called Ms. Belton or Dr. Moore? So it's been great. You all, it's good seeing your faces.
Likewise.
You all take care of yourselves. Yeah, even with the beards and the hair grown out. Everyone's taking care of themselves. I appreciate, look at this. So yeah, you guys, I appreciate you joining me in this conversation. It's really needed. It's just too much going on. So hopefully the students and other people will get something from it, because we need to keep this dialogue going.
I agree. And thank you all.
Okay, y'all have a good day.
Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, thank you guys. That was a good discussion. A couple of times I thought I would tear up to hear men be open about how they're feeling. I tell you, that is a great step for what we're doing here in terms of mental health advocacy, where you have 4 educated men, 4 well-rounded men who are willing to be transparent and tell you, no, I'm not doing okay, or I'm doing okay. I say I'm doing okay, but this is really how I'm doing, or this is what I'm doing to try to help other people. That conversation needs to be had. We need to stop, living life on the surface and get deeper about who we are as human beings. The humanity of life says that we will grieve. The humanity of life says that we will be angry, that we will be frustrated, that we will be embarrassed, that we will love. The humanity of life says that we have all of these emotions, but only 2 or 3 are really respected when you say, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm happy. Oh, I'm fine. No, that won't work, because those don't fit anymore. And people are getting tired of covering up how they're actually doing. So I'm glad you all joined me for the conversation. If you want us to continue this conversation, let me know. If you want to join us the next time, I have men on to talk about the connection between mental health and the current events, especially during May. This is June, as Men's Mental Health Month. Let me know. I'll be on a couple of other shows this month. I'm excited about that. So please check out my page. Even if I don't post regular content, you can see that I will post where I'll be talking openly about the things that are coming through with mental health and the growth that we're having and the outreach that people are doing. Like, there's plenty of options available. So I'm Dr. Stacey Alexander, America's #1 success therapist for this installment. Goals Don't Have Feelings. You all, please take care of yourself. Be mindful of others. And if you do need counseling services, access the resources at the end of this installment and get some help for yourself and your family and friends. Thank you.